Hey guys, welcome back to Dixie Belle's YouTube channel. It's Lauren here from Furniture Flipping Teacher, and we're back for another FFT Friday. Today I'm going to be flipping these two nightstands, and it's a crazy story. I don't know if you're going to believe it, but it really happened. I got this one at Goodwill for $5.99, and then a couple days later I was at another thrift store and I found this one, the exact same nightstand, for $7.99. So under $20, two nightstands that match exactly. I couldn't pass them up. I am going to use my White Lightning cleaner to spray all over them and give them a nice clean so that we can start with a fresh, clean slate. Now I'm gonna rinse with just some clean water to get a rinsed off, cleaned off surface. All right, we're all clean now. So my next step here is going to need to smooth out the surfaces of the nightstands. Now, these are not solid wood, so they do have a little bit of water damage here on the tops, but that's nothing that we can't take care of with a little bit of sanding and some Boss. In order to get just a little bit of a smoother surface, I am going to take my Surf Prep sander and use 220 grit sandpaper to smooth out any rough spots that I feel, and then we'll wipe everything back with my microfiber cloth because we don't want that dust clogging up the paint and things like that. Okay, like I said, I'm going to do a layer of Boss. I'm going to use the gray Boss for this one just because it most closely matches the color that I'm going to be putting on these nightstands. So the gray Boss is just going to help me kind of smooth out and make sure that all of the surfaces are the same consistency. And then it's also going to help me block any of the stains that are on this piece, and also any odors and things like that. All right, I got my first coat of Boss on, and I think we're only gonna need one of those. And then once that's dry in about an hour or so, just for good measure, then we'll move on to painting these guys with a fun color that I've never used before. And I think that these, once they're done, will look really cute in a little girl's room or some type of apartment area. Now that I've let that Boss dry for about an hour or even two, it is time to get some color on these guys. So I chose Lucky Lavender for the color. Again, I'm kind of thinking that these would look really cute in a little girl's room or even a little apartment, something like that. But I just want to do something fun, and this is a color that I've never done before. So we're gonna go with it, and I hope you guys enjoy the little bit of a different color. So both of these are gonna be drying now, and then we'll come back for coat number two here in probably another hour. I just wanna give it that optimal dry time. Coat number two is coming up next. It's time for coat number two on these nightstands, and I am just gonna take the same method that I did on coat number one and do the same for coat number two. 2 coats are all finished up now, and they just need to dry. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna be applying a stencil on the tops and then doing the last finishing touches before these babies are all finished up. Now that both nightstands are dry, I am ready to put this stencil on the tops of them. So I just want to add a little bit of extra flair to it. And then I'm going to tape down my stencil so that it doesn't move on me. I'm just using plain old blue painter's tape, or you can use green frog tape, whatever you've got on hand. Okay, and we made it nice and straight, even. I'm going to try and use my blue sponge to apply the paint on the stencils. A lot of the times I use the small mini sponge brushes and do it, but this is gonna have a lot more coverage for me. The one thing that I've gotta be careful of is just not getting too much paint on there. And if I need to smooth anything out, I can kind of dab it with my large round brush. All right, and now we want to remove this stencil when the paint is still wet. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove it. You just wanna go straight up. There we go. So that's gonna stay on there. All right, and so now that I've got both stencils on, they need to dry before I do the second part of the stencils, but I do need to wash this off, and I did that between stencils, but all I'm gonna do is take it into my sink and spray it off and then let it dry. Okay, now that we've got the entire top covered with my stencil, I am going to go ahead and do some sealing and then we'll be finished. So we definitely need to make sure that we do that top coat in order to protect our finish and our piece from just getting any of that scratch or damage. I'm gonna be using 2 products today. This one is the Gator hide, and it has the utmost protection, which I'm gonna be putting on the tops because they're nightstands, and you know, if you have water, things like that, they're gonna be pretty high traffic. And then the Easy Peasy spray wax is going to go on to the rest of the surfaces. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just gonna be using the same sponge brush that I was using earlier. I did clean it all out and it's a little damp, which is actually a little bit better for the surface and for applying the Gator hide. This blue Gator sponge really helps with the top coat application. It just makes it go on very quickly, honestly. I'm really pleased with the way that this stencil turned out. Is it perfect? No, I can tell you that doing a stencil is very, very tricky to get perfect, especially one that has a lot of spots that lift. This stencil was the Greek key stencil that you can find on Dixie Belle's website. And it's a cool, unique, but intricate stencil that I thought would really just give this a little bit of extra pizzazz, I guess you could say. So now I'm gonna grab my Easy Peasy spray wax and we're going to top coat the remainder of the nightstands and install the hardware and we'll be good to go. All right, and just like that, these are top coated. Okay, now I'm just gonna grab the hardware. Here we go, the final product. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I had a fun time doing these 2 nightstands. You know, I don't really play around with stencils too often, but when I do, I really enjoy the look and the finished product of them. I thought that not only will this kind of help cover up some of the imperfections on the tops, it also just gives it a little bit more of some character. And then I couldn't pass up these beautiful white knobs that I found on clearance at TJ Maxx one day. They just really pulled it all together and made that white pop. I think, again, these will look great in a little girl's room or in an apartment or something like that. I think I can sell them for around $100, $125 for the pair, which is a pretty good turnaround profit for not too much work, thanks to all of Dixie Belle's amazing products. We will be back here next Friday for an FFT Friday, so be sure to get subscribed down below, and then also head over to Furniture Flipping Teacher. I will see you on the flip side.